Why do we say that mind is the most beautiful servant but a dangerous master? Why is it that there are some underprivileged children who grew up to become the most powerful people of the world? For example, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, Martin Luther King, Oprah Winfrey, Elon Musk, the list is endless. On the other hand, there are some people who've not had such an underprivileged childhood, but they end up committing suicide. Why is it that the number one cause of deaths in 2020 will be suicide? Which means that there are more number of people who will be killing themselves with their own choice versus number of people dying because of heart attack, cancer, malnutrition, accidents, etc., etc. Why do they do so? Why is it that it seems that they have everything that is required to have a fulfilled life? They're not lacking any physical strength, they're not lacking mental capabilities, they're not lacking any physical possessions that is required to have a happy life. In fact, it seems that their life is desirable by the millions out there. So why do they do so? When we deliberate a little further, it all boils down to emotions. And we know that everyone who commits suicide is definitely emotionally disturbed. And we know that everyone who's emotionally disturbed do not commit suicide, which means the number of people who are not committing suicide but are emotionally disturbed is way higher than the number of people committing suicide. This emotional disturbance can actually be tackled by emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence not only helps you to tackle this emotional discontentment, but is also a major growth factor in any area of your life. And to have a satisfied life, we know that we need to rule our hearts and we need to rule our minds. And what rules our hearts and what rule our minds is these emotions. So which means to rule our heart and to rule our mind, we need to rule these emotions. And when we are not emotionally intelligent, it can give birth to 3 of the emotional problems. Number 1, emotional obesity. Number 2, emotional inflation. Number 3, emotional bankruptcy. Now, what is emotional intelligence and how do we avoid these conditions or solve them if they're already there? Emotional intelligence is knowing why you're doing what you are doing, choosing your needs over your wants, choosing what gives you sustainable happiness than choosing guilty pleasures. Emotional intelligence means not buying the product that you don't need. It means realizing that you're living in a society created by men who are not smarter than you, and that you can change these rules and bring out better definitions for your life, which will serve you and everyone around you in a much better way. Emotional intelligence means realizing what self-love is. It means that you know that you don't have to depend on love and approval from others to have a satisfied and fulfilled life. And one of the things about self-love is that you don't trade your happiness for the sake of other people's happiness. This ties back to the third condition that we talked about, emotional bankruptcy. To explain this concept of emotional bankruptcy in a better way, I'll use an example of the currency, the money that we use in day-to-day life. Let's say you go out in the market, you give your money first in advance. The product is not yet there with you. In this case, the seller owes the product to you. In the other case, let's say the product is given to you already in advance. And in this situation, you owe this money back to the seller now. Similarly, in our emotional world, if we've done a favor to someone, we expect that we have that favor coming back to us in future anytime. And unless and until that's done, it stays at the back of our mind. On the other case, let's say if somebody has done something for us, we sometimes feel that we are in debt of giving this or the other favor back to the other person so that we are equal. And that's a widely accepted way of living life, give and take. That's how humans have evolved, by contributing in each other's lives. Though there's a healthier way to live life, which is contributing and giving without any expectations. But that's a different topic to talk about. Now there is one more condition when nobody does anything for us, but we still feel that we have to give something to the other person. That situation is when someone comes back to us, asks us for a favor, and we say no. We deny their request. In that situation, we feel that we have to do something for them in future if they come back again. We have that self-imposed guilt, that self-imposed debt of giving something because we've said no. Now, to avoid this debt and guilt of saying no, we end up saying yes. I'll give you a real life example. Imagine you woke up in the morning and you woke up after multiple tries and you failed in the past of waking up early because you had to do yoga. And when you woke up, your partner got to know that you were up early and your partner is now lazy in the bed, don't want to wake up and prepare their own breakfast. And they ask you, could you please prepare the breakfast for me today? Because you're a very nice person, you will say, yes, I'll do it for you. Even though in your heart, you're killing yourself. You want to do that yoga because you've not done it for so many days and you woke up finally to do it for yourself. But you said yes for the breakfast, not for the yoga. After all, it's more important to be flexible in the relationship and than having a flexible body, right? Wrong. I'll give you one more example from your professional life. Let's say it's Friday. You've worked really hard for the entire week and you've not taken a break today on Friday because you wanted to finish up your work as soon as possible so that you can go home and spend some time with your family. And you've not taken breaks, so you're really tired. But by the end of the day, this colleague comes up, asks you, hey, could you please finish this chunk of work that I have? I've not been able to do so. I have to leave early because I have this date planned. I've done the entire setup, and if I really don't go on this date, the entire setup will be spoiled and I'm gonna probably not meet this girl or boy again. Because you're a nice person and you wanted to go home early, you've not taken your breaks, you end up saying yes for this work that does not belong to you. Why? Because you don't want that guilt, you don't want that debt of saying no. What happens in these two situations? You end up losing your health because you didn't do yoga, and because you had not taken a break, probably you are already brain fried, and you end up committing mistake in the work that your friend gave you. So now your professional relationship is also not good because this friend might think that you've done this deliberately, and you're emotionally exhausted as well. Now you see how these situations can range from your personal life to your professional life. And imagine, how were you feeling? You were feeling bad for yourself to make these other people happy. And when this is done on regular basis over a period of time, you will get emotional bankrupt. So you'll have to start saying no. Now, I'm not saying that go about being a no ambassador, start saying no to every request that you receive. There is a method to it. There is a 3-step process that you can follow. Step 1, see if the request is manageable or not. Number 2, if the request is not manageable in step 1, see if you can manage this request by delegating it to somebody else and taking someone's help. If that's not possible either, move on to step 3. Politely decline their request by saying that you already have plans made for your own life and you really cannot help them right now. And you're not lying to them. You're being truthful to yourself. It's a very easy method to follow. But to make it simpler for you so that you can have the belief around this entire method, for you to imbibe it in your life a lot more easier, I'll say a few things to you. Imagine if we never existed. Who would have helped these people fulfill their requests? I'm going to say this very respectfully, but this is a harsh reality. None of us are indispensable. We are all replaceable. The bubble just burst, right? These requests would have managed in one or the other way. But what would not have been managed in your absence is your priorities, your life. And how people manage when you prioritize your life, leave it up to them. You don't have to think about it. You are only here for your own growth first. Unless and until you grow, you will not be able to contribute into anybody else's life. The primary goal for your existence is your personal growth without hampering anybody else's growth. And by doing this, please do not think that you're being selfish. You're being self-loving. Saying yes to others while you say no to yourself should make you feel worse than saying yes to yourself and no to others. Save these emotions, my friends, and invest them within yourself so that you can become emotionally rich. And being emotionally rich is way more satisfying than being financially rich, but emotionally bankrupt. And when you are financially rich, but emotionally bankrupt, you don't feel satisfied. But when you're emotionally rich and financially bankrupt, you still are able to manage life somehow. You still are able to think about the ideas that can actually make you financially rich as well. And emotional richness, when you're emotionally rich, you can actually have a stronger and deeper bond within yourself, which will result into a stronger and deeper bonds within the people around you, which will give you and the people you love sustainable happiness. And sustainable happiness, my friends, is new wealth. Thank you so much for staying till the end. If you really liked what I just shared with you, please subscribe and hit that bell button so that you can get notified the next time I post a video on the similar topic. Also, please feel free to like and comment and share it with your friends so that they can also be aware about the new things that you've been aware about today. Thank you so much.